Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of High Energy Girl. And today's guest is Tyler Ross. Now, Tyler is a group personal training coach over at Orangetheory Fitness and has basically been there since day one. So to date, he's coached nearly 4,500 classes, as well as a large number of personal training one-on-one clients. He is from West Boca Raton, Florida, and let's go say hi to Tyler. In order for more people to find the show, it's really helpful if you could head on over to iTunes and give us a rating and review. That way more people can find the show and learn from these awesome guests. Welcome to High Energy Girl, a podcast helping women to age stronger, because it is never too late to get fit, be strong, and feel sexy. I'm your host, Tracy Gluheich, health coach and personal trainer, and founder of highenergygirl.com. Each week, we will either have a guest interview, which will provide you an actionable tip to help you age stronger, or I will do a solo episode that we will have a fun challenge for the month. Please also join our Facebook group, High Energy Girls. Looking forward to seeing you on the inside. Hope you enjoy the show. Give a woman a fish, feed her for a day. Teach a woman to fish, feed her for a lifetime. Teach a woman to fish, end world hunger. Have you ever wanted to help people improve their health journey? Have you thought about coaching people with a keto lifestyle? Would you like to become an integrative health coach? Well, the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, or IIN as we call it, is the largest nutrition school in the country. And in 2011, I graduated from their program and became a health coach. It was completely awesome. We learned over 100 different dietary theories and talk about craziness and confusion. My wish for you is that we can lock arms and create a tribe of health coaches all around the country, all around the world to spread the keto message. If this resonates with you and you would like to look into this option deeper, please go to my blog at highenergygirl.com and click on the link to the right of the homepage. Here you can grab the curriculum guide and see if it inspires you. Since I care so much about my listeners, I negotiated the very best tuition rate for you at IIN. Either you can contact them directly and give them my name, or I will introduce you to a counselor so you can decide if this is a good fit for you and your career goals. Let me know how I can support you in this coaching career opportunity. Hey, Tyler, welcome to the show today.
Hi, Tracy. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I'm super excited to chat with you because I know that you've been in the fitness industry for a long time and you have a message to share to our listeners. So to begin with, why don't you just tell them a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I've been involved in the fitness industry really most of my working life. I started in college. I went to the University of Central Florida. And I started off as just kind of a fitness attendant, kind of looking over the weight floor and just kind of getting familiar with things. And I'd always been involved in sports and exercise, but, a friend helped me get a job there because I really wanted to work. And it's a really high, a lot of people also want to work there. So he kind of got me in and I dabbled around and eventually got my Group X certification. And so I was teaching group exercise for about 2 years and eventually moved on, got my personal training certification. And long story short, right before I graduated, I found a job working for a place called Orangetheory Fitness, and it's really up and coming. It's growing in popularity now. I know recently we had an ad on Monday Night Football, so I think a lot of people saw that. So I've been doing that now it'd be going on 6 years. So all in all, I've been in the fitness industry for about 9 years. I think I've taught over really 4,500 between Group X and personal training, group personal training classes. So I've seen a wide variety of different, clientele, members, different shapes and sizes. So it's been quite an experience, and I'm only going forward. So
that's cool. I've been to Orangetheory before, and we just opened one in our town.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's really, really popular.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think the thing, if someone's looking, especially people that are definitely on the more beginner side, I mean, it's catered to literally all fitness, like fitness varieties. It's, I would say I've got, true beginners in my class, but I've also got these seasoned triathletes that are, training for, full Ironmans, and they're getting the same great workout in. So it's really cool that they could be working out side by side with one another and still be, getting in their results and trying to get where they want to be.
Yeah, so it's like kind of they can work at their level of fitness and all be happy at the same time, right?
Right, exactly. And it's great because you're in a group, but you're so focused on like what you're doing. And it's funny when people first come in, everyone's a little paranoid. They think everyone's looking at them. And as a coach, I'm literally the only person looking at you because I want to make sure you're doing it right. Everyone else is just focused on what they're doing, I promise. And then eventually after a while, they just kind of stay dialed in and focus on what they're doing. So it's very cool. And I've definitely enjoyed doing it. And along with Orangetheory, I also train clients on the side. So like I said, I get to see both aspects. I get to see the group training side. I get to see the one-on-one side and, work with people on both levels.
Wow. That sounds fun so now let me ask you, do you personal train at Orangetheory?
No, it's kind of my own thing. On my off hours, cause there's only so many classes on a schedule. So I literally load my car up with equipment and ride around to people's houses or work out at their community gyms and, train them there. It's just kind of the hustle that I guess I've created for myself, but I love it. I mean, I wouldn't, trade it for anything else. It's definitely what I want to do and definitely my passion. And, the more people I can help, then the more I feel fulfilled. So for sure.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. So what's your favorite part of what you're doing? Like, do you like the training? Do you like the Orangetheory? And where do you talk to me about a little bit about the benefits that you're seeing to your clients?
Yeah. So the main thing that I see benefit wise is people, the results come. Yeah. They're getting they're getting the transformations in their bodies. They're feeling better. They have more energy. Like that's all good, but it's more the mindset that really, it's transforming inside them. They're realizing they can do more than they realize they can. And that's one thing that I always really try to bring home to people is I tell them, you really have to find the comfort in the discomfort. Like when you're at that level where you really can't go anymore, just try to give it one extra notch. And, that's what's beautiful. One about Orangetheory is that everything's with numbers. Like you have speeds on the treadmill and you go up by 1/10 of a mile an hour. And, I tell people all the time, okay, we're going to do it like a 30-second, an all out or like a sprint. And, let's just try to give it, another 0.1 to 0.2. And they're like, well, that seems so much faster. They're like, I can't do it for 30 seconds. I'm like, yeah, but you can do it for 10. But you can do it for, I bet you can do it for 10 or 12 seconds, do it for that long and then slow it down, and it's more just them knowing what it feels like to be running that fast or even lifting a weight. I throw them, I'm always handing people heavier weights and they're like, there's no way I can do this. I'm like, you just did the other one for 10. Like, yeah, I can't do it for 10. I'm like, well, do it for 2, do it for 3. Get your body acclimated to what it feels like. So that way, you can come back to it and you're more familiar, and so that's what I mean by, finding that comfort in the discomfort that, okay, I've done this before. I've been here before. Now I can, see how many more I can do. And it's just kind of that effect over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So and it's hard because people that if they've never been pushed like that, most people that come into either Orangetheory or that I train on, train my own, they've never really been pushed in that sense. And so it takes some time to really get that kind of mindset, and then you look at, someone who they run races all the time or they're an experienced personal trainer or a coach and, they've played sports their whole lives, they've learned how to push past those. So anyone can do it. That's the main thing is anybody is able to get to that, push yourself mindset. It's just you have to let it happen and you have to be willing to go through the steps to get there.
Yeah. One of my favorite quotes is your body can do it. It's your mind you have to convince.
Always. I mean, just seriously, all those types of quotes there's so much truth to those things, and the mind is so powerful. And I feel like a lot of people, like they recognize that, they acknowledge it, but they don't really put it to their own personal practice. It's always easier said than done, especially when you're, running for 60 seconds straight at your max speed and you're 10 seconds away from completing the minute. And you're like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. It's flicking that switch on in your brain that tells you, no, you can do this. You've already done it for almost the whole time. What's another 10 seconds?
Yeah.
One of my favorite quotes, that I tried to adopt for myself is most people quit at 40%. It's a Navy SEALs quote, I believe. And I don't know if you've heard it, but there's a lot of truth to that in the sense that, you really could keep going. You could do more and more and more. A lot of the time, it's just, does your mind quit before your body does? So.
Yeah, and that's true. And that's what I see happen. They feel the burn and they think that they have to stop when they feel it. And I always say, go past the burn.
Right.
It's burning and it's working.
Exactly. I'm like, that burning and that, that almost failure feeling, like there's growth that happens to that. And, we don't, I'm all about, pushing yourself to a failure point. I mean, there's, you obviously want to, watch how often you're doing that. I mean, a lot of the time you just want to make sure that you're there, getting the workout in. But yeah, every now and then you got to push your limits. If you want to actually see growth happen, in your body, and you want to see muscle form and, lean body tissue, and you want to see, fat go away, you really have to, push it every now and again. And a lot of people, just getting there, that's everyone's first step. Well, I just need to show up. I'm like, no, that's great. That's fantastic. Your first month or two, just get in the door, develop the habit, develop the routine. But okay, now we're 3 months in, and you've been doing the same thing for the last 3 months. Well, now we have to step it up, because now your body's getting adapted to just showing up. Now we have to increase things.
Mm-hmm. So you said something I wanted to ask you about. So I put a poll out a while ago on Facebook, and it said, do you think it's more difficult to develop a strong body or a strong mind? How would you answer that?
I mean, I think they kind of go, they're very relative. I feel like in order to develop a strong body, you have to have a strong mind, because, in order to build muscle, you have to, in order to build, the whole principle of overload, you have to do that as you're building strength and building muscle. That's got to be something that has to happen. And I feel like, in order to do that, your mind has to be, stronger. And again, it goes back to what I said before. It's just, getting into that routine of like doing it over and over again. And because muscle, a lot of people, when they begin a fitness program, they have that little explosion of muscle over about a week or two, because their muscle, it's so not used to working that way that, when all of a sudden it does, the muscles swell up, they get filled with water and fluid, and like they do start to grow initially, but then that eventually tapers off. And that's why you have to, rev it up again. That's why they have that whole theory behind, that's a lot of theory behind, like, things like interval training is pushing your body to where you immediately go into those like tougher states and those tougher zones.
Yeah. And then shorten your recovery. Like when I teach, I'll do I'll keep increasing the amount of work, and then the recovery stays smaller, so that they can, so what hormesis is, right?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Hormesis, it's when you're stressing out your body in different ways to be stronger.
Oh, of course. Yeah. And it's just, it's that whole thing of even keeping your body guessing, just kind of always keeping it on edge, even if you're doing the same thing. Yeah. Take your recovery time from 45 seconds to, 30 seconds. Well, that's a whole nother workout. Yeah. You may be doing the same weight and same reps, but it ain't the same workout.
Yeah. So. That's cool. Okay. So what advice would you give our listeners who say that they don't do much workout, if any at all, and they're wanting to, get stronger? What's the first thing that they should do?
My first thing for them would be find a personal trainer, find someone that they can, look to, because the first thing you got, working out, it can be a dangerous thing. It could be something that, if you don't know what you're doing, you go into a gym. Most people, when they sign up for like a Planet Fitness or like an LA Fitness or Gold's Gym, they go in and they go to what's familiar, and that, may be good initially, but that's not what's going to get them the results they truly want. So really hiring an expert and do some research, look around in your community, ask people around, like, do you know any good qualified trainers, and get a couple of references, and, go find their trainers page. Like the ones that I know, most good personal trainers have a good social media following in some way. Like they have a lot of, they may have a lot of Instagram followers. They may have a big Facebook community. That's the one thing I use a lot is Facebook, because I love it, because I can, see into my clients' lives, and they can see into mine, and, there's a lot of sharing on there. And when somebody does something good, you can spread it all around. So, seeing if there's like a positive community attached with that trainer. And then, obviously reach out to them and try to work with them a couple of days a week and just learn. that's one thing I tell people when they're coming into Orangetheory, like, guys, a lot of this stuff is you're just learning how to do this. So that to me would definitely be the first step. I think it's just like finding somebody who can help them and get them going. And if you don't have that kind of resource, or if you don't have the money to afford a personal trainer, I get it. Then find the next best thing. Join some bootcamp classes where you can pay like $10 to $15 per session or less. Or go online. I mean, there's a ton of resources online, and I mean, God, YouTube is everything. Like, you can find how to do every single exercise on YouTube. So type in a workout online, go on YouTube and look it up, and there's surely somebody that's got a detailed video up there. So, there's a couple resources, but learn first and then try to apply. It's like preparation.
Yeah, and I also think functional movement's important for certain people. Like, I think because you and I are in fitness and have been in there for a long time, that we don't realize that a lot of people cannot even do a push-up on their knees at all. Like, they just can't do it. So it's about, where can you start? Like, maybe it's your kitchen counter, and then maybe it's a coffee table.
Yeah, or even a wall. I mean, I take some clients who are super deconditioned. I'm like, you're just gonna lean up against the wall and push up against it, and they do 10, 15 reps of that, and they're like, wow, like, and it's, it can get kind of emotional because they realize how deconditioned they are. I don't like using the term out of shape. I mean, because I don't like, because, it all depends on the workout you're doing. I got people that, like I said, come into Orangetheory and they're like, I am so out of shape. I'm like, you're not out of shape. Like, you lift weights 5 days a week. You're deconditioned to this workout. Like, you do this workout 3-4 days a week, you're going to be right back up here with everybody else, but you're not used to it. So you're just same goes if you're doing yoga. If you're not used to doing yoga and you go in for a class, you're like, I am so not flexible. I feel like I can't do this. Well, no, if you do it a couple times a week and then all of a sudden you fall into a pose you've never done before. Oh my gosh, I love yoga. Like, I'm so addicted. I can't wait to practice more. I see it happen. And, kind of going off what you're saying, a lot of it too is you're right. You and I were in this industry, but a lot of people, they've never, or it's been a while since they've used the muscles to do a proper push-up or even a squat. I don't know if you've ever heard of a thing called muscle activation therapy.
No, I have not.
So essentially what it is, and it's I forget the gentleman's name, and I feel bad for forgetting it, but I learned a little bit about it, did some research because I found it fascinating. But what he's saying is just, the muscles there, like everything in your body works. For the most part, unless you have some serious injury, most muscles and joints, everything's working for you. It's just, when was the last time you actually fired those muscles? So what he does is, he takes his clients through different stretches and different joint actions, and it's just to get the muscle firing again so that they can perform basic human function. So things like a squat, I mean, we all know how to squat. Well, since we were babies, you look at an infant baby, if that start to walk, it bends down to pick something up. It's a perfect squat. Knees are parallel. I mean, butt drops, chest is up. I'm like, look at your kid. And I tell people, like, look at your kids. They can squat better than you can, It's just kind of retraining the body and getting it back to where, we can do those things again. And just, learning to fire those things. So yeah, starting at a really simple point, sitting down in a chair and standing up and pushing through your heels with your big toes up. That would be one.
Yeah, that is interesting that you said that, because I was just talking to my students today about how, how like if you're standing, oftentimes our bodies are conditioned to move forward. And that way, instead of leaning back and standing upright on your heels, we are more in a forward motion or a forward posture, and put all that extra strain on our knees. I mean, I'm 53, so I'm in a totally different space than you, but I was telling them today in class, like, lean more back so that you're more upright instead of forward standing,
Right. No, of course. I mean, that's everything. And that's linear motion. That's going forward and backward. Like, and then, if you're ever doing anything lateral, like shuffles or lateral lunges, I mean, I tell everybody all the time, like, you're probably going to feel really awkward if you're not used to doing this, because one, we're not built like crabs. Like, we're used to going forward and backwards. To go sideways is so foreign to people. So it's, that even takes more time. And it's just, but it's all coming back to the mindset. Like, you can't give up if you can't do it the first time. You just have to keep working at it. And it's like a practice, like anything else.
Yeah. And you just said something else that I wanted to address. You said about muscle activation. I think what happens a lot of times, and I don't know why this is, but maybe you understand it. So I know that there's something about glute activation, and oftentimes our glutes are weaker, and so our quads take over, and then that way when they fatigue, a lot of it goes on our knees and creates extra pressure there.
No, of course. I mean, that's all. And again, kind of going back to what you were saying about, we're all so used to going forward. I mean, like when you running is so quad dominant. Like it's so, especially if you're running on like a flat surface, like especially if you're down here in Florida, like me, where there's no hills, like, so there's no running uphill, there's no hamstring activation, there's no glutes. And, so yeah, you get someone to try to do a squat and, their glutes tire out, or they don't even know really how to fire them because they're only used to their quads. So yeah, their weight comes forward, their knees go over their toes, and all that weight goes to their knees. And they're like, I can't do this. My knees are killing me. And it's like, well, we just have to get certain things firing again. And, there's a lot of, like I was saying before, there's a lot of truth to that. And it's just kind of working with people. And that's why I say you need a personal trainer. Because if I tell you to go do, okay, here's your circuit, you're going to do, 10 squats, 10 push-ups, 10 sit-ups, 5 rounds with a 30-second rest. That'd be a tough workout for some people. But if you don't know how to properly squat, by that third round, you might have to stop because your knees can't do it.
Yeah, for sure. And what I always tell people when they're first squatting, it's good to put a bench behind you. Mm-hmm. Just so you have, number one, like an area to shoot for. Because I find that when people don't have something to aim for, they don't squat low enough. And right. So I say just like you don't want to sit on it, but you want to just know that it's there and just kind of tap it lightly, like reach for it.
Yep, exactly. And I mean, and going off that, even if you have to sit down at first, then then do it. But eventually, want to get to the point where it's a light tap, and then we remove the bench. And then after that, okay, now let's start. Let's add 2 pounds. We'll hold on to a 2-pound dumbbell on each arm. Okay, now we'll add 5s. It's like then you add the weight after. So
yeah, progression. So when they start with the trainer, how many days a week do you think that they should start?
I would say my ideal rule is 3 because 2 days a week you can maybe get away with, but I think 3 is the safe number because one, if you're only doing once or twice a week, it's very sporadic. It's not as committable because you might. A lot of the time, if you're working out, you do 1 or 2 days a week, your body's going to forget what you did probably in the last session, especially if you're doing 1 time a week. Okay, we work out every Monday. Well, by next Monday, my body has no idea what we did the first time, and there's no real muscle memory. There's no, so it's like we're starting from scratch over and over again, and it's a lot harder to get results. 3 days a week is enough where you've got that day of recovery. But between the sessions, you have you're able to kind of work on different things. Your body is always in a state of motion. You're burning enough calories where it's sufficient enough for your next day or two, and you're not gonna get burnt out initially.
Yeah, I actually tell people to do 2 days. So this is my methodology with training. I lift heavy 2 days a week, full body, mm-hmm. and then I have 2 days in between, and I make sure to get adequate rest because I used to be an overtrainer, mm-hmm. and I used to train like way too much, and then I had injury, and also I wasn't making the gains because I wasn't resting enough. What do you think about rest?
Oh, rest is more important than the work itself. I mean, yeah, I think as trainers and coaches, we've all been there. We've all definitely overtrained and did too much. Because we're like, where's my limit? I got to find it. And you find it, you're like, okay, maybe I can push past it. I mean, a lot of us are crazy, but no, rest is everything. And yeah, I mean, sleeping and drinking water, or I'm sorry, eating and drinking water, but then sleep is everything. A lot of people, and I get it, people are busy, and I tell many of my members this, and a lot of them, they're like young moms, they have young kids, and I say, if there's any way you guys can try to get some extra sleep at night, that's really going to help you and help you recover better than anything else you'll do, because that's when your body is fully shutting down, muscles repairing, fats burning. I mean, everything happens when you're asleep. And a lot of people think, 5, 6, even 7 hours is enough. I mean, really, we need 8 to 10 as human beings, which I know is a pipe dream for most people. But if you got a day where you can sleep in a good 8 hours, take advantage of it. Don't set an alarm. Let your body get a full recovery in, because that will help you recover and build and feel better overall. I mean, your brain will be sharper, like, so you can keep that tough mindset, you know?
Yeah, I think sleep's really important, and I like what you said about don't set an alarm. But for some of us, like I wake up before my alarm, but I hardly never get 8 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And I burn and I go and I'm, moving all day, but my body doesn't need that much sleep. And I think part of it has to do with our nutrition practices. So if your lifestyle is such that you're feeding your body the energy that it needs, and that's not just food, but it's all the other energy sources that we get. I think that you can thrive with less sleep because the energy's coming into you in different ways. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and there's definitely some truth to that. And I mean, I'm throwing out the 8 to 10 because that's ideally what I tell my members and clients to get, because I mean, if it's even possible. Again, I know most people run on between 5 to 8 hours, depending on their career's choice, what time they got to be up most days. And a lot of people, you're right, they wake up before their alarms. They can't sleep. And I think your lifestyle outside of that, like how it all kind of comes down to what are your choices, what's going into your body throughout the day, and what are you doing throughout the day, how much stress is in your life, and what's keeping you up at night. Can you really shut your mind down at night and really not think about anything, where you can actually get a full deep sleep?
And that is exactly what I think it is that they're not, if they need too much sleep, it's because the sleep quality is probably lacking.
Oh, it's that's everything. I mean, the sleep, people, it's even funny because there's people who, they can sleep. I know me personally, there's times where I'll get 7-8 hours of sleep and I'm dead tired as soon as I wake up. I'm like, I got a full night's of rest. Why am I so tired? And it was like, I was up the night before. Because I'll teach some early morning classes at 5:30 in the morning. And, I'm thinking about, I'm thinking about everything I got to do. I got to think about, my rotations. I got to think about timing. It's just, there's a lot of pieces that go into, teaching a class. And, sometimes that'll keep me up for an extra 30, 45 minutes. And that's still with me when I'm sleeping. That's the thing. People don't realize, even though you've fallen asleep, all your thoughts, everything that's going through your head, that stays with you for the first couple of hours. And, if you're able to let that out, I've heard a great method, on another podcast, called a brain dump, where you just kind of take everything that's in your head, write it all down. So just have a notebook by your bed, write everything down that's in your head, so it's all there. So if it's something you had to remember or think about, it's there in the morning for you, but then you can sleep soundly. And I've tried doing that a couple nights a week, and it definitely helps. And I think, again, more practice with it, the more I do it, I think it'll help my sleep quality.
Absolutely. I call it a mind dump. And basically what I say is, at nighttime, have a gratitude journal so that when you go to sleep, you're focusing on the joys of the day instead of the stressors of the day. Mm-hmm. And then mind up your to-do list so that you don't have to think about it. You just have it on paper, so it's there waiting for you in the morning. And then that way you can sleep more soundly. And then also, of course, take magnesium. That helps amazing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would have to, that'd be something I'd have to look into. I've never tried that one, but I mean, like I said, I'm always one for trying out new things and trying to see how I can improve my body and my mind. And I'm always, playing around with different, whether it be a supplement or some other types of food or, whatever it may be. I'm always up for it. So that's good to know.
Oh yeah. Magnesium's amazing. So what I tell people, well, first of all, this is what I do and this is what I coach. Sure. Cold, dark room. So I wear an eye mask because my husband comes to bed and reads, and then I don't want to see his light. So cold, dark room. I wear earplugs because I don't want the dogs be barking or any other noise to wake me up. And no blue light. Are you into the whole amber glasses thing?
You know what? I've heard about that, and I think there's a setting on I don't know if it's on the iPhone now. I mean, I've got an older phone, but I have it where, the blue light thing actually turns off at 7 o'clock.
Oh, good.
So yeah, I've heard things about that, and I try my best to not be on my phone right when I go to bed. That's another thing that just, I know, kills people's sleep quality is if they're playing on their phone for a good 20, 30 minutes. I mean, one, that's time you could be sleeping. Two, you're just going to keep yourself awake more once you put it down.
Yeah. And also get your phone out of your room. I mean, seriously, you want your phone away from your head. Mm-hmm. 6 feet minimum, because that's really bad for you to have that phone right there. And these kids that are doing that all the time, it makes me crazy. So, okay, so you're into the whole mindset thing, which I absolutely positively love. I think that everything starts in your mind. And I love that you said that. Is there any other wisdom that you want our listeners to be able to take and apply to their week?
I think the other thing too is just negative self-talk. That might be the one other thing I encourage a lot of people to not do. And my favorite thing is when I walk in, and one of my favorite groups to coach is this group of the 9:30 a.m. ladies, and they're all so sweet, and a lot of them, they're young moms, or their kids are in high school and things like that, and they have so much going on, and they come in, they're like, oh my God, I'm dying from yesterday or the day before. I don't think I can get through this. I don't know if I can even do today. We haven't even stepped in the room. We haven't even started. I'm like, okay, I stopped them mid-sentence. I'm like, stop. Like, let's like look at positive. Like, you're going to get through this. You do this every single day. And I just start kind of trying to talk to them positively, kind of subtly, but also letting them know, like, you need to get out of your head. You're already in your head, and you're not even on that treadmill. You're not even lifting weights yet. So I think, it's more just not even starting the day negative. Like you said, like a gratitude journal. Find things you're thankful for and just start off on a positive note, because more than likely the rest of your day you're going to see the positive in things rather than the negative. So that's really, I think, one more thing everyone can do to help their mindset and help them kind of have a better day and see more improvement in their life.
Yeah, totally agree. Love it. The affirmations and positive self-talk, because your mind doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality, and it believes whatever you feed it. So we want to feed our mind good mojo, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. All the time. That's why, I try to stay as positive as I can. And I feel bad from my wife whenever, if I get home and I've had like a long day or something didn't go as planned, and I start dumping things on her, and then, she might do it, to me back. We both have to stop. Like, wait, life is really good. Like, we're both really happy. Like, things are better than ever, and you just have to try to come back to those positive things that do make life, really great. So. Absolutely.
Totally 100% agree. So tell me, Tyler, what is your favorite accomplishment or claim to fame, or speaking of that?
I'm not really, I try to be as down to earth, and I really try to be humble. I don't really know if I have. I think for me, it's more, just what I do for a living. It's funny because I'm actually a very naturally introverted person, which a lot of people probably won't believe. But, growing up, when I was in school, I maybe said 2 words. I was a very, very quiet kid. So, me, and speaking of pushing yourself, I pushed myself to kind of get in front of people and learn how to public speak and be on a microphone and be able to, talk in front of other people. So for me, coaching, doing over 4,000 or 4,500 classes, whatever I've done, that to me, I think is my biggest personal accomplishment, is that I've been able to do that over and over, and I love doing it, and I'm only going to keep going. And so, I think personally that's more of what it is. I can't really think of anything else though. So,
well, that's a good thing to think about, because you're touching lives and changing lives. And to me, that's the biggest blessing ever, is to help somebody, So that's cool.
And that's everything. If somebody comes up to me and they're like, I never knew I could do that, or, oh my gosh, I've gotten such great results. You guys have all helped me get to where I want to be. Like that, it makes my month. Like it could even make my year if it's a big enough transformation. Like it's literally like what I live for. So.
Aw, that's so sweet.
I know, sentimental side of me.
So we're going to go to the speed round next, because I don't want to run out of time. What is your personal healthiest habit?
Personal healthiest habit, I would say routine in what I eat. I'm pretty consistent with like breakfast, lunch, and then dinner, change it up during the week. But it allows me to kind of stay focused, and I know what I'm going to eat. I know it's healthy, and I pretty much stick to it Monday through Friday, and then change it up on dinner and the weekends.
Okay. So that's cool. Then that leads us into another one. What's your favorite food?
Oh, Lordy. Healthy food or like bad food?
Well, let's keep it healthy.
All right. Sounds good. Honestly, what I have in the morning, like, I always have like 2 eggs and then like some oatmeal, but the oatmeal I put like coconut oil up top with almonds. I'll have honey on it. Like, I just load it up because I'm going to be working and coaching classes for, 3, 4, 5 hours, whatever it may be. So I try to get a lot of my calories in then. So I'd say my breakfast.
How many classes a week do you teach?
Right now, I'm right at about like 18 to 20. It just depends on if I'm subbing or not. And then I have another probably currently 6 or 7 personal training clients that I do. So I try to stay as busy as I can, but the work has to be there. So
yeah, totally. And then, okay, so what about guilty pleasure? Because that'll be your bad one or whatever it is. It doesn't matter.
For sure. I will go ham on chicken wings. Like that to me, and I know it's not the worst thing ever, but I mean, I will go to like a wing place, and a couple years back I did a bodybuilding show, or it was like a physique show, and 2 days later we went to an all-you-can-eat wing place, and I think I had 53 wings or something like in like one sitting, and the people work there like, are you guys done? Like, are y'all gonna leave? Because it was all you can eat, and I'm like, honestly, I could keep going. Because I still have my tan on and everything. I was so hungry after that show. So I would say it's probably just some chicken wings.
Okay, go listen to my other podcast, Be Well, Be Keto, and listen to Robert Sykes and Danny Vega, okay?
Okay.
They are – so I'm like totally into the keto diet, have been for 3 years. My purpose is about longevity and disease prevention, inflammation prevention, cancer prevention, all that. Sure. And but those guys are competitive, like they're into the whole scene. And Robert was talking about how he has trained both ways, like old school bodybuilding nutrition versus the keto way. And he said he had so much more energy. His lifts did not diminish. He had so much more strength going keto. And then that way you can eat all the dang wings you want to eat.
I love it. Oh my gosh, for sure. I'm definitely gonna look into that.
Yeah, check it out. It's pretty cool. Okay, awesome. What is your favorite quote? I think you said it, but do you have another one?
It changes. I know that most people quit at 40%. That's currently my favorite one. What was one I heard, or one that I can't remember word for it, but it was like work hard now. So, oh my gosh, I wish I could remember it. It's on my Facebook somewhere. Let's just go with the SEALs quote, because that's the one that I have in my head as I'm like working hard and working out and running. So that's the one that's currently going on my mind right now.
Okay, that reminds me of one about most people quit before they're like 3 feet from gold or something. Like they give up right before they get there. Okay, coffee or tea?
Oh, coffee. With what I do, it's got to be coffee.
What do you put in it?
I do cream and sugar. I'm not gonna lie. Like that's one thing that I want to. I don't do the crazy like frozen drinks that you get from like Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks. I just do plain old cream and sugar, just a little bit.
Okay. And then favorite movie.
Ooh.
Or favorite book. You can do either.
I'd say my favorite movie is probably definitely Star Wars. I mean, I have an older brother I think he's 43 or 44 now. I always forget. He's going to hate me, but he loves Star Wars, raised me up on it. So the whole series, and I feel ashamed because I haven't seen the newest one yet. So I got to get on that.
Is that Solo?
I think so. Yeah. So I don't even know if it's like one of the official ones. That's how out of the loop I am right now. But the classics, I mean, I can watch those over and over on repeat.
Oh, that's so funny. My middle son is super into Star Wars. Like he's 20. Gosh, how old is Nick? 23. And he like works at Oracle, has a professional job and everything. And he's like, I want a Star Wars Lego for Christmas. And every year he wants a Star Wars Lego for Christmas.
He's 23. Good for him.
Yeah. It's pretty funny. He lives in LA and Santa Monica, totally cute. Like, and he wants a Star Wars Lego. I love it.
Hey.
So
living his best life.
So where can people find you on social or on your website, or do you have any of that going on?
Well, I have my Facebook page. If you just search under, be Tyler Ross and then in parentheses Orangetheory. That's what I have currently, and that's kind of what I do all my like posting and kind of my connections through. But I do. My wife and I actually have an Instagram. It's hangry_trainers. We're hoping to pick it back up at the start of the year, but she just got a new job she got a promotion, I should say, and I've been really busy with things, so hoping to pick it back up. Website's coming, but they can find me on Facebook and or they can just email me at trossfitness@gmail.com.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, we'll put those links in the show notes so they can go right up to you, and then send me a picture of you from your competition so we can put that in the show notes, and then the listeners can check it out. I'm sure it looks
Oh
nice.
Lord. Oh, I'm like a string bean because that was my first one. I was trying to figure it out, but yeah, I'll look for one for sure.
Oh, don't be shy. Come on. You're adorable.
All right.
Okay,
All right.
my dear. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. It was super nice to see you and chat with you and all that. So
Yes. No, thank you so much for having me, Tracy. It's been fun.
have a super day.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I, for one, took away a lot of juicy nuggets from Tyler's chat and his wonderful advice. For details and his contact info, please head on over to highenergygirl.com/show. This podcast contains the opinion and thoughts of his host and guests. It is intended to provide helpful and informative material on the subjects covered. All statements made on the podcast have not been evaluated by the FDA and are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease. If the listener requires professional assistance or advice, please contact your personal medical doctor. Both host and guest specifically disclaim any responsibility for any liability, loss, or risk, personal or otherwise, which is incurred as a consequence directly or indirectly of the use and application of any of the contents of these episodes. Like I said, this is my opinion and I could be wrong.